Peace, YouTube. This is Sean Young, also known as Supreme, with another episode of Adventures in Wholesaling. And boy, do I have a surprise for you guys today, or do I have a treat, should I say. I have Burton Alicondo on with us today, who's actually going to do a small little presentation of a software that I've just started using, but it has a lot of potential. And trust me, this is something that you guys are going to need in your business if you're serious about success, and it is called PropStream. And with that intro and with that being said, I would love to bring Burton on the line with us so that he can go ahead and start his portion of the demo or of the presentation so that we can get it going. You guys got a treat.
Hey, Sean, this is Burton. Thanks again for having me. Hey, everybody. Thanks again for joining us. Again, I'm Burton. I'm with PropStream. I'm the product specialist here. My goal today, and thank you, first off, making sure you guys thank Sean for this, but my goal today is to kind of fill you guys in on why you guys have heard about us, why Sean has actually used our system for his business, how it's impacted his business in a positive way. And I hope after today, you'll get an idea of how it could enhance your real estate business as well. So without further ado, let me go ahead and just share my screen with you over here. So let me close this down, get my screen, and we'll take it from there. So a little bit about us. So we've actually been around for 14 years. So if you guys have just heard about us, that's amazing, but we've actually been around for 14 years. We started back in 2005. Our main goal was to do the dirty work for you guys, right? Normally, when someone wants a list, they would physically go to the county recorder's office and pull pre-foreclosures, pull tax liens, pull bankruptcies, pull records that they believe would be motivated sellers or distressed homeowners, and then market to them. Right now, if we go back 10, 15 years, that was the traditional route. We would take that list, take it home, either ourselves or our assistants would have to go through them and siphon through them. Now, that's what we're doing for you guys. So you don't have to drive down to the county's office anymore. We have nationwide results, so you guys can actually search anywhere in the United States. Now, when you first log in, we assume that that's where you're investing, the area that you're logging in from. So we do capture your IP address and we zoom in on the area for you. As you can see, I'm here in Orange County, but as I mentioned, your playground is actually all of the United States. So there are 5 types of searches that you guys can perform. You can search a county. Here's an example of me searching a county. Let's do Fulton County, Georgia, just as an example here. And when I search a county, what's going to happen is we're going to show you all the records that we've collected for you in that county. So we have over 1 million records that you can go through in Fulton County, Georgia. And instead of just going through the 1 million records manually, we've actually broken them down for you into their own categories. And that's what we call our CAN searches here at the top. So it's letting me know that I have access to 72,000 MLS records. So when I click on this category, I get to see the 72,000 records that are listed for me. Now, this is a great category for finding comps, finding expired listings, finding active listings, below market price listings. So it's all about creativity. We don't know what type of investor you are, but you are able to go through these records unfiltered, or in just a second to show you guys how you can filter and customize your own categories. So we have MLS, pre-foreclosures, auctions, foreclosures, or your REO, bank-owned properties. We have cash buyers, and as you guys can see, if you click on each category, it changes to just those results. Liens are involuntary liens, tax liens, HOA, mechanical utility, abstract of judgment, like someone not paying child support. Liens are great because it's like the smoke before the fire, right? We're all firemen. We want to put out the fire and solve the solution or solve an issue. Liens are kind of like an early bird's notice so that something is going on. So we may potentially find someone with a lien that's not in pre-foreclosure yet. So rather than waiting for the pre-foreclosure to happen, we can potentially go up to them now and save them from that situation. So liens have become very popular. Vacants from the Postal Service. This is simply addresses not answering their mail for about a month or more. High equity are properties that have $100,000 or more in equity, or 50% or more in equity. And then the last 3 categories we have are actually located in our filter. Those are free and clear, properties with no mortgages, bankruptcies, properties with a bankruptcy recording, and divorce properties with a divorce recording. So this is what happens when you search a county. You can search a city. For example, you can now just completely go to the East Coast and search Miami, and it's going to give me Miami's results, and it's going to break down the categories for me there in Miami. We can search a zip code, which I think is very important. So if you want to narrow down your search to a much smaller environment, you can search a zip code. As a matter of fact, you can search up to 5 zip codes. So I can do 2, I can do, again, up 3, or up to 5. So if I did do 3, I get my results for 3 entire zip codes. And then last 2 searches, second to last is by far the most important one, I think, and that's a specific property search. You're driving for dollars, or someone says, hey, check out this address I have looked into. You can type in the address, and we're going to zoom in onto the property for you and give you the property's neighborhood records, like the neighboring data, MLS records around the property, the pre-foreclosures around the property, the foreclosures around the property, and you'll even be able to click on the details and get to the property details, which I'll talk about in just a few. And the last search that you can perform is the draw search feature. So let's say you found a property in this area, you're trying to run comps, or trying to look for maybe motivated sellers in this given area, not the entire zip code or city of Downey. The draw search feature is located at the top left, and what this will allow you to do is through several left clicks, you can just kind of create your own search here. So once you create your own search, you can hit search here at the top, and we're now just going to populate the motivated sellers and buyers and MLS listings in that given area. So I just want to show you guys the type of searches that you can perform, but this is really not the most important part. The most important part, and I have to explain this a little bit, again, if you go back 10 years ago, what most people were doing was they would pull a given category and refine it, right? Which we can do now. So we can go to, let's say, Fulton County, and if I'm interested in a pre-foreclosure, I can click on the pre-foreclosure, then go to the filter, and through the 100 different options that we have in our filter, we can customize our search. So let me kind of go over the filters first. We have owner occupancy. We can say, yes, we want it owner occupied or not owner occupied for those looking for an absentee owner. You can then filter any of our 11 categories. Or if you leave it blank, we'll take whatever your criteria is and go through every single one of our categories. We have property characteristics. This will allow you to choose the type of property you're trying to hunt down, whether it's a single family type, condominium, multifamily, built in a certain year, has a certain amount of bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage, or lot square footage, or even home features. We have MLS status, so this will allow you to layer any MLS criteria, such as a description within the listing, a listing status, the listing amount, when it was listed, how many days on the market it's been on, how many days it's been on the market so far, whether it was listed as a rental, listed below market price, or even whether it's on the market, yes or no. So this is, again, as you guys are seeing here, we're allowing you to layer any category on top of another category. Our next category that you can layer is foreclosure status. So if we are searching pre-foreclosures, we can choose the pre-foreclosure status, the type of document it's under, when it was recorded, or listing date. We can apply the default amount, or even the auction date. We can say things like, I want a pre-foreclosure that's 45 days away from an auction starting today. Last 4 categories are the ownership info. So here you'll be able to, here you'll be able to play with how many years the owner has lived in the property, whether it's owned by a corporation or individual, when it last sold, last sell price, whether it's owned by an owner who's registered out of state, whether it's registered by an owner or the property is registered as vacant, I should say. Next category is lien. Again, another level of layering. This will allow you to specify whether the property also has a lien, a bankruptcy, or a divorce or a bankruptcy, when it was recorded, the lien amount, and even the lien type. Value trend allows you to specify the amount of the property, the rental amount of the property, the growth over a certain period of time, and last but not least, we have the equity and mortgage information. So here an individual can apply how much equity they're looking for, a minimum or maximum, a percentage of equity, or how many mortgages an individual has against the property, mortgage amount, interest rate, loan to value ratio, term, maturity date, the type of loan being used on the property, or whether the property was once bought in cash or is currently free and clear. So the idea here, guys, is we're doing essentially what you can do, but saving you time. So I could go to Fulton County right now, grab the 872 pre-foreclosures, and then at the comfort of my home, start going through them manually. Now that's time consuming. So this is why the filtering has gotten very popular, right? So let's say my buyers only want single family properties built before 2000. I can now go into filter, say I'm looking for either an owner occupied or non-owner occupied or both. I'm looking for pre-foreclosures, so I'm going to choose that list type. I'm looking for single family properties built before the year 2000. So there's my property characteristics that match my buyers. My buyers also want to make sure that they're off market, so I can go to the MLS status and make sure that they're off market. And what I'm doing here is I'm making sure that these pre-foreclosures are not in this category as well. So essentially a property that hasn't signed a contract with a broker. The next section is the foreclosure. So this is where I can refine the pre-foreclosure search I'm doing. So I'm looking for a pre-foreclosure. I'm looking for a notice of trustee sale, for example. I'm looking for one that was recorded at the beginning of this month. So I'm looking for the freshest pre-foreclosures that were recorded in this market recently. Once I'm done with that, again, I can apply a default amount, an auction date if need be. I can now specify the ownership info. So I'm looking for a person that has owned this property for 5 years or more. It personally lets me know that there's been some equity, right? You've been paying at least 5 years, so there should be some equity on the property. I also want to make sure it's individually owned. That way I'm not dealing with trusts or corporations. I'm just dealing with a person who's just gotten in trouble a little bit, and I'm here to help them with that situation. I can specify last sale date, last sale price, again, whether it's registered by or if it's owned by an out-of-state owner, or if the property is currently vacant right now. So right here, we can stop. I mean, we can continue adding more layers, like whether there is also a lien on the property. But just this very moment, I'm now looking for pre-foreclosures that meet my buyer's property characteristics. They're off market, and they were just recorded about 2 weeks ago. When I hit apply, I have now 51 records, and I didn't have to go through 871 of them manually. So in about 30 seconds in front of your eyes, I've narrowed down to my criteria. But if you're like me and you've watched enough sci-fi movies, you don't trust technology, you don't trust computers, and that's the whole idea with our product is we will give you your results, but you don't have to listen to what we have to say. Just because you have 51 results doesn't mean they're all good for you. And this is where we have really kind of separated ourselves from everybody. It's the ability to actually click on the property and see 11 different sources working together as one. So here is the property details page. I'll go over it really quick, but it's going to tell a story ultimately. It's going to show you the photo of the property. It's going to give you the characteristics of the property, the estimated value that we've calculated through our algorithm using MLS and county records, whether it's on market or not. Now, it should say off market because we specified that. Is it distressed? Is it in pre-foreclosure or foreclosure? Yes, it is. Are there any liens that we need to worry about as well? In this case, no, just the default amount. It's individually owned, it's owner occupied, and it's a single family. To the right, we have, again, the estimated value and what amount it sold for and when it last sold. How the property has increased in value in the last 5 years based on our algorithm. How many comps we've captured for you. So our system has said, has captured comps for you. It's pretty much saying, hey, we believe there's 19 comps. Here's the ARV value of those 19 comps on average. And here's how long it would normally last if you were to list it. To the right, we have the
I just want to cut in just really quickly.
Sure, go ahead.
Guys, gals out there that are listening and taking a look at this video, this is very powerful stuff. So make sure that you're paying attention here at this section, because I hear a lot of people always ask questions that say, hey, you know, how do I find the comps, or what, you know, what are comps? Guys, this software, if you're not seeing the power of this right now, please pay attention. It's all right here for you guys. You don't have to go to multiple sources. They've all been brought to you. And with that being said, Burton, please continue.
No, that's a great bring up. And actually, I'm going to piggyback off that. So besides to the right of the comparers, we have the opportunity. But every one of this information is scattered into details down below, right? So once we get an idea of what's unfolding with the property, we now know who the property is owned by, the owner's address, property characteristics, HOA information, site information or assessment information. We have the sale information too. And here's what I really like. We get the county records. So the county says, hey, the property sold at $184,000, $900, but we also get the mortgage information, because we do know people usually use a down payment. And that's important to us because when we get the mortgage information, we get the recording date, the interest rate, how long the mortgage term is. And the reason why we do this is because this allows us to calculate what their balance is. So if we didn't capture this information, we would think that their balance, or they would have a little bit less equity, when in reality, the moment they bought the property, $40,000 went into equity because of that down payment, right? So we're taking this information to better calculate mortgage balance for you guys. Now, to Sean's point, we also give you the pre-foreclosure details, like when the auction will be held, but most importantly, the comps. So we do give you comps. We say, hey, there's 19 comps for this property. Here's the value we believe. Here's the days on market. But again, you watch enough movies, you don't have to go by technology. You shouldn't trust technology. We allow you to pretty much take control of running your own comps. So in the comparables and nearby listings, it's really the first three boxes. These are the comps. So beginning with comps, these are county records. So this is what most investors, 9 out of 10 investors, 10 out of 10, I should say, have access to publicly. You can go to the public office, get properties that last sold in the 6 months, last sold in the last year. This is what we're doing for you. So we can run comparables using county records. And to do that, click on this box, apply your range. So we usually go back a year, but for some of you guys, maybe you're only going to go back 6 months, right? Now it's apples to apples. So if I have a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom, I'm looking for a 3-bedroom, at least 2 minimum 2-bedroom bathroom property. I can increase and decrease the distance. So let's say we want to go 0.25 rather than a half a mile. And in just a few moments, I have now my new selected comps. So it's saying, hey, Burton, based on your filter, there's actually 5 comps, and the ARV is actually a lot higher than that. So that's the key component here, guys, is that you can run your own comps. And here's the part that I really like. When people say ARV, they usually calculate comps and they give a set value. They say, okay, I believe the ARV is 419, right? That's what we're doing. We're averaging it out for you. But here's what happens when you click View Report. What we do, let me go ahead and allow that. What we do is we actually generate a comps ARV range report for you. So we're not saying, hey, here's the ARV of the property, 400. We're saying, hey, Mr. Buyer, here's what you potentially could sell the property for, because we don't know how you're going to rehab it. But we take the comps and we show you the low ARV, the average ARV, and the highest ARV, right? Because again, we're not contractors, we're not appraisers, we're not inspectors. We really don't know what the true ARV is. We don't know what our buyer is going to do once they buy the contract. But what we're telling our buyer is, hey, look, I have a contract, $200,000, let's say. If you buy it, you can maybe list it after you rehab it for as low as $336, as high as $491, or maybe about $419, depending on how you rehab it. So if you use the cheapest stuff, don't expect any higher than that. If you use the most expensive materials, this is probably what you can get. And if you're just going to do some cleanup and some average rehab repairs, you can probably list it for $419. So the idea here is we're not giving them a set value, because when you give them a set value, you're really letting them calculate right then there. If I say, hey, ARV is 400,000, contract is 200,000, my buyer is going to say, okay, I'm only going to make 200,000. Not sure if I want it. And I mean, that's still a great deal. Most would say, yeah. But the idea here is if I give them this, they're now thinking, okay, I could make 200,000, or I could make 290,000 based on the report that you've just given me. So this is how we run our comps, and that's simply using county records. Then you have neighboring records. So if you're in a gated community, a cul-de-sac, this could be very beneficial to you. And last, but certainly not least, the MLS records. So here, we're allowing you to have access to agent data, real estate agent data. So just like an agent would, they can use county records, just like most of the public. But unlike most of the public, by having a real estate license, they have access to MLS listing or multi-listing services, which allows them to see what's currently active by other agents, what was sold by other agents, what's pending, what's failed. And here's why MLS has become a very big thing, if for those of you that don't know. Let's say I'm the county recordings office and Sean is the agent. Sean lists a property. I don't get any recording because nothing really needs to be recorded on the property. Nothing has sold, nothing has changed. It's still under the same ownership. Finally, Sean sells the property. So Sean runs back to his office. He goes on the MLS and he says, it's sold, right? So now every agent in the neighborhood gets to see that that property is sold at that very moment for a certain price that Sean sold it for. But here's the problem with the county office, me. Sean has to send that paperwork over to my department, and then I have to do all the paperwork, right? I have to process the records. Now that can take about a month, that could take a week, it could take 2 weeks. And that's why MLS has become very imperative, is because you can find things that have sold that the county hasn't even recorded yet. And I'll give you a prime example. If I go back, let's say 60 days, and I'm looking for 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms within a half-mile radius, what I can do is I can organize the sale date, and you can see here that we have a property that sold on August 9th, but when I go to the comps and I organize sell date, okay, in this case we have the same property, but I don't know if it's the same property. Oh, it is. So thankfully, this is a bad example, but this county is recording things as fast as the MLS, but you guys will see at times that the MLS may be ahead of the county by a month or two, or sometimes even 6 months. So this is why both categories have become very imperative. Another reason why MLS has become very imperative is for those of you that are watching that live in a non-disclosure state, Texas, New Mexico, Indiana. These are states where the county will not give you sell records at all. You don't get the sell amount. So when you're using our system in a non-disclosure state, these two categories will not work for you guys. And this is why we went after the MLS, to accommodate that situation. So again, MLS is important because you can see records that the county hasn't pushed out yet. It's also important for you guys that are in a state that don't have sell records. So keeping that in mind. But that is pretty much our details page here. We wrap it up by giving you tax information, showing you any mortgage or anything that has happened after the fact, transaction history, and documents and reports. So you'll be able to purchase the assessor's map, the document image scan, and then the last three things that we give you guys is the print button. So imagine you like this property a lot and you're so excited and you're trying to explain it to your investor, but it's a lot of information to explain. All you have to do is hit that print button, guys, here at the top, and we actually just put it on a report for you. So in my book, what I would do is I would look at a property I'm interested in, run my comps. If the margins look good, I hit the print button, and now I have all of the property details on this report. So this is what I'm handing my buyer. They get to see the property characteristics, comparables, opportunity, owner's information, lien information. They get to see the comparables both at a county level, which is the red one. Yellow are MLS listings. We even show them the statistics for the environment, let them know whether the price changes are increasing in this area, rental changes are increasing. So now I have a property I'm interested in. I print this report so I can easily explain it to my buyer. And then I also tell my buyer, hey, guess what? I ran comps for you. Here are the comps reports. So I'm letting my buyer know everything about the property, and then I'm slapping the ARV range. I'm saying, hey, look, if you buy my contract now, this is the low and the high ARV that you can get. So guys, I mean, compare these two reports to what most people are doing, and it's nothing wrong with what most people are doing, but it's this in this industry, it's all about kind of separating yourself a little bit, right? That's why we do marketing, and we have all sorts of different ways to market people and how our postcard looks. And same thing with reports, right? Most people will call a buyer and tell them over the phone, this is the property, here's the address, here are the comps, or they'll just email them. Here's the subject property. Here are the 3 addresses of the comps I pulled. No pictures, just numbers and addresses. We're doing it differently, right? You can print this out and send it over to them. And now hopefully that lets you separate yourselves from everybody else. And maybe you just find yourself a new good, a buyer, a best friend. And trust me, if I was an investor and you slapped this on my table, I wouldn't even know anything about you, but I would sit there and think you must have this like elaborate system of running values or evaluating properties, or you must have like a marketing expert on your team to piece all of this together, because most investors that are emailing me deals aren't doing this, right? So I wanted to show you guys that aspect. That's the print button here at the top. You also have the analysis. This lets you run your numbers so you can apply what you bought the property for, the type of mortgage you're using, you know, if you're going to rent out your property, how much per month, what your monthly expenses are, and then lastly, you know, are you going to sell the house when it hits a certain cap rate or market rate or inflation rate, or are you just going to sell it for the ARV value that you've calculated? And what we do is we will run the analysis for up to 30 years, 40 years. We can even do the analysis for 6 months if you know the property is going to sell in 6 months and so forth. So Analysis Wizard is very popular in a sense for those that are cash flowing a property or just trying to get an idea of what the ROI would be in 6 months, 8 months, or when the property will sell. After all of your variables are inputted, you can actually click on the Finish tab, and it will allow you to download any of our reports. So pretty much it's just showing your cash flow. So I've seen people use this to convince hard money lenders, private money lenders, to fund the property 100% rather than 80%. And again, cash flow analysis is the way to go with that. So underwriters love this because it lets them, it's confidence. It lets them know that, hey, if we are going to fund this property or fund this deal, you've done your homework and the return on investment is positive. Both the bank or the lender and you are going to make money. So why not go ahead and fund it 100%? So, and I think, again, that could be a very important thing down the road. So guys, that is our properties page. The last thing that we would like to end it with is that rehab calculator. So we know that most people like to just round up, right? Hey, I walked the property, bathroom looks destroyed, so I'm just gonna say it's $30,000 to do the rehab. And there's some good things to that. Being conservative is great, but also it's a bad thing. It's a double-edged sword because your numbers could be too high that you're pretty much taking away from what you can give the homeowner or what your assignment fee could be, right? So your assignment fee could be a lot larger, but because you didn't calculate your rehab properly, you're now pretty much losing that rehab cost. So what the rehab calculator will do is it will redirect you to an amazing company called Blue Hammer. They work with insurance providers nationwide, and what they do is provide local level costs on the project that you're trying to perform, as well as show you all the line items, all the material costs, all the labor costs. So here's just a quick example. Once you click on the rehab calculator, click on estimate new project, name the project. So we can call it bathroom. You can then hit let's go, and then you can take two avenues. You can search individual line items. So for those of you guys that are expert at this or seasoned at this, clicks individual actions and you can choose what line items that you want. Or if you're like me and you have absolutely no clue, go to popular projects and you can choose what most rehabbers are doing when they flip a property. So bathrooms, I can do a complete remodel, a shower only or tub and shower. Let's say it's a tub and shower bathroom, natural stone tile, and we're going to use not the designer stuff, but semi-best material in that area. And then we're going to make that repair in the bathroom. And so in 3, 2, 1, Blue Hammer tells me what my local level cost is at retail, what my do-it-yourself cost is, and all the line items typically performed and all the materials needed to complete a complete bathroom project in this given environment. So again, guys, this is not to say that this is the exact dollar amount. This is just letting you know where it should be plus or minus. So me assuming a rehab of $30,000, well, that's $11,000 too high. That again could have gone to your assignment fee. That could have gone to your homeowner if you're trying to help them out. So Blue Hammer, very popular. It lets you know whether you're within the right ballpark or not when you're calculating your rehab. So guys, that is all the tools that you have when you click on a property, assuming that you filter it down. So just wanted to show you guys pretty much how you can refine a given category, but I also now want to end it with letting you guys know that you guys are in the peak of technology. And what I mean by that, guys, is that our system allows you to create things that you can't find at a county recordings office, right? Like for example, a lot of people are told to go find a tired landlord, right? And what is a tired landlord? Like you can't go to the county and find tired landlords, but because we've collected so many property records and because we have a filtering system that lets you apply over 100 criterias, I'm going to show you how to find a tired landlord. Let's go find a tired landlord in Las Vegas, for example. Okay, so we're going to go to Las Vegas. We're not going to choose any category. We're just going to go straight to the filter. And we're going to look for a non-owner occupied property. Now, most landlords, right, if you're renting out the property, you're not living in the property, it's non-owner occupied. So that's the first step. We're looking for a non-owner occupied property. The next step is, again, apples to apples. Maybe we're looking for a single family property or a multifamily property. Maybe we're looking for an off-market property. Maybe a property not in pre-foreclosure, so I don't have to compete with other investors. And here's where we can control the tired landlord part. We can say we're looking for an individually owned owner who has owned the property for 15 years or more, right? So here, guys, and I didn't find, this is not a list. This is just going through every category and finding those specific category or criteria. So I'm looking for an off-market property, so property not listed with an agent. I'm looking for property not in pre-foreclosure to beat out the competition. And this property has been owned by an individual, not a corporation, an individual, for 15 years or more, right? I have 8,900 leads that you can't find at the county's office, right? So, and I always go by the 10% rule. I shoot 800 or 8,000 calls, 897 of them are going to call me back. 89 of them should sign an appointment. 9 of them will close. I always go by the 10% rule. And again, these are leads that I would have never found unless maybe they listed it on the MLS and it failed, or maybe they go into pre-foreclosure, or maybe they file bankruptcy, right? So do I A, wait for that situation, or do I B, contact them now and see if maybe they may be needing someone to save them from being a landlord for 15 years, right? So there are clever things that you can do in our system, guys. It's not just refining a certain category. It's just coming up with a predicament that a person is in, and that is a lead. You can also do some creative things like this thing right here I'm about to show you guys will blow your mind. So please make sure you get your notes out. But I'm going to show you guys how to find a buyer that you can't do in any other product. Most people, when finding a buyer, let's say we go to Miami and we find a buyer, what most people will do is go through our CashBot records, and they just simply find a non-owner occupied cash buyer within the last, let's say, 6 months, right? So we're just trying to find buyers that purchase cash or property in cash in the last 6 months. Here are my buyers, right? 1,700 I have to now contact, promote a contract, and hopefully one of them calls me back. So with our layering system, you can come up with some really interesting avenues. So the way I've found a buyer in our system, and you can't do this in any other system, is you got to think like a buyer, right? So what a buyer normally does is they buy it in cash, and then they rehab it, and then they sell it, right? And Sean, would you agree to that?
Absolutely.
Okay,
100%.
so since we know that behavior, let's filter for that behavior. So rather than looking for buyers in the last 6 months, I'm going to look for buyers in the first quarter of this year. And this is just an example, guys. You can do any time frame you like, but I'm going to look for buyers from January 1st to March 31st, or in the first quarter of this year. So again, these are people that bought a property in cash. Now, after they bought it, I assume they're going to rehab it and then list it, right? Now, you have access to the MLS. So I can go to the MLS and say, okay, if they bought it in the first quarter, then I'm looking for the ones that then listed it after that first quarter. So they listed it on April or after they bought it, right? So here are my 36 properties, guys. And here's why I like this method, is because now when I click on that property, this is where all the data comes together. I can see the county cash sale record, $180,000 on March 27th, who the buyer is and the buyer's address, and I can see the MLS details. See how much this person is flipping their property for? Right? So this is big. And I say big because now I know my buyer's buying power. I know what contract they would be mostly interested in, what that range is. I know the characteristics of the property they're interested in. And now I know that, hey, it only took them 3 months to sell and it's currently active. So I'm gonna put this guy on my buyers list, because when that thing sells, they probably need another project, and I'm their go-to guy now, right? So guys, this is why our system has gotten extremely powerful. And quote me on this, take what I just showed you and ask anybody in any other platform if they can do it. Even ask a realtor, hey, can you do this search, find buyers, and show me? It's going to be 4 or 5 different websites for them. You're able to do this on one website, and this is our searching for you guys. So I did spend a lot of time here, but I wanted to show you guys why you've heard about us, why Sean is talking about us, why Sean has converted over to our system, and how this has greatly impacted his real estate business. And I wanted to show you guys these cool searches because, hey, I'm a firm believer if I show it to you guys, you'll get the idea. And hey, we have the tool for you. So just to wrap this all up, again, appreciate your time. The last things that we do have available to you guys, besides all the data and all the details and the amazing filtering system, we allow you to actually export your data out of our system. So you can check off all your results. You can save it, call it the Miami buyers, and we can even put like today's date on it. After we save your properties, again, you can export it so we can go straight to the property section where we store your results. All you have to do is just look for your Miami buyers lists. Once you find them, you can check them off, hit the export button, and we call it a day. Now, for those of you guys that have no idea what to do with an exported list, we got you covered. What I mean by that is we actually have internal marketing for you. This includes the skip tracing. What this allows you to do is to take any list that you've built, and through skip tracing, you can actually pay an additional cost. It's 30 cents per lead. That actually gets a result, and get landlines, cell phones, and emails that were processed through an application that went through the credit bureau, right? So we're not dealing with survey emails, phone number. We're dealing with actual emails that were on an application that went through the credit bureau. So landlines, phone numbers, cell phone numbers, emails, you usually get those results within 10, 15 minutes. Here's an idea. So here's a list that I have, right? Just addresses and primary or minimal information, here's a list I have. Once it's skip traced, you'll be able to see the names, emails, and phone numbers. So our system has an internal skip tracing for you, so we can immediately get contact information within 15 minutes. And then you can export it, right? You can finally export it, do your cold calling if you like. But guess what? Most of us are working full time. We don't have that luxury. Our weekends are very limited. So we got you covered on that part too, guys. We included a campaign section. What this allows you to do is to take that exact same list that you built, skip traced for their phone numbers and emails, and now you'll be able to directly market to them by starting a new campaign, naming that campaign whatever you want to name it, choosing the list that you want to campaign to, and then you'll have the ability to send out as many marketing elements as you want. As you can see here, this is a campaign dashboard. You'll be able to create a landing page, which is free. We give that to you for free. So every campaign you create, you get to create a website for those people, right? So if you have 100 addresses that are in pre-foreclosure, your website would caretake to the pre-foreclosures. If you have 100 addresses for cash buyers, your website would talk about things that cash buyers want to hear, right? So every campaign gets a free website, and then every campaign you will be able to send postcards, ringless voicemails, or emails. And as a matter of fact, you can send as many as you like. So you can see here, I've been sending voicemails and emails on this campaign over and over again until you finally say, you know what, I'm done with this list. You can end the campaign here at the top right, and then all your inactive campaigns go here at the bottom left. So that is our system in a nutshell for you guys. There's still a lot more to talk about, a lot more details that we can go over. We do have a help tab that includes an overview video. It's about an hour long. This actually really goes through all the nicks and crannies, covers everything about our platform. So feel free to take advantage of that. You guys also, and I can't emphasize this enough, do not go to our website to sign up directly. Sean will provide you guys with a link to use.
It's gonna be
it will
down
give
low.
you guys, there you go. Yeah, it's down below. So it will give
description.
you guys a trial period, a discounted price. So make sure to sign up. Now, if any of you guys have accidentally signed up, maybe you signed up during the video, make sure you call our customer support line. Let us know, hey, you know, I was watching Sean's video, I accidentally signed up. We'll make sure that we convert you guys over to Sean's account so you guys get that discount as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it, Sean. Thank you so much for your time. I'm sorry if I went a little bit above our schedule, but I really appreciate it. I'm going to shoot it back to you. And if obviously you have any questions, I'm here to answer it. But again, thank you for your time. And for those of you guys watching, my name is Burton. Thank you again for your time as well.
Burton, it has been a pleasure. We thank you for your time. And I don't have any questions, of course. I mean, you're my go-to guy. And guys out here, if you watch this video and you've enjoyed it, I mean, this is the type of support, top level quality support that you're going to receive. I mean, Burton is awesome. He's phenomenal. And, you know, this is only the tip of the iceberg, guys. So, you know, if you're actually an investor out here that wants to get results and wants to see results, this is your one-stop shop. I mean, where else do you need to go? This is giving you everything you need, guys. It's getting you your tools to provide you with leads, helping you market those leads, and actually, you know, get some deals closed. So with that being said, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the notification bell down below so that you can stay up to date with all of our latest and greatest information that we're coming out with. And again, Burton, it's been awesome. I want to thank you, my friend.
You got it, man.
Down in the description as well, guys. A 7-day free trial, guys. Make sure you hit that description down below. 7-day free trial, guys.
Take care, everybody.
With this crown on my head, I'm seated on the throne. The top is so alone. Only thing that keeps me going is I know my city love me. I know my city love me.